Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
What's going on, Broncos Country? Welcome to another edition, of Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. My name is 𝐂𝐚𝐬𝐬. We got the man, the myth, the legend, the creator and founder and captain and king of Team Puffball, Mr. Dave. That's a very long title. How do you fit that on a business card?
Very carefully. And it all goes on there because it's all applicable. It's all appropriate. It's all important. So, yeah. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Yes, Gary, how you doing, man? It is time for some No B.S. action tonight. Guys, you're going to want to stick around because at the end of the show tonight, I got some big news that you guys are going to want to hear about, see what I got working for y'all. It's going to be fantastic. So stick around to the end of the show. But in the meantime, we need to talk about some Broncos football because not only is it July, but David, next week, July 16th, the rookies report for their start of training camp, followed by the full team, the 22nd, I believe, of July. So 2 weeks from today would be the start of full training camp, or tomorrow, I believe. But we are there, man. So What are your thoughts? We made it through the off season, basically. Here we are in the precipice of what we have a ton of expectations for this team. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a head around what my real expectations should be this year. And we talked about our season record predictions a little bit when the schedule came out, and we all had some pretty lofty goals. But I also think we all really agreed that the most important thing was to see continued growth from Bo Nix this year, right? And that is going to be more important than anything. That's going to be more important than the record on paper. That's going to be more important than playoff wins. It's just all about Bo Nix and his growth in this offense with Sean Payton. Can he do more things in this offense that he did last year? We didn't see him play the full Sean Payton offense last year. Obviously, it's a really complicated offense, but how much of it does he grow this season? How much of it does he add to his repertoire? Does he start fast this year? Does he come out of the gate firing? Or do we have another season where the first part of the season is really slow and then it clicks a little later on? It feels cliche to start the conversation with the quarterback, but it's got to be what you're thinking about most heading into this second year of the Knicks era.
It is interesting, I keep thinking about, man, how good does it feel to not just know we don't have a quarterback battle, but it's something that we can look at this and say this is like a 10 plus year long thing for us. As long as things go well. I'm not going to talk about injuries or any of those kinds of things, but the way things stand, wow, we're set, But then alternatively, what you're talking about is kind of there too. It was only 1 year, was that a fluke? Now that teams have tape on him, did they figure him out? Is he going to have that sophomore slump? There are still some questions there. And so it's really tough to okay, I want to relax when I watch Bo Nix because we saw how consistent he was last year, but I still can't yet.
No,
you know what
yet.
I mean?
No, not yet. And Roy puts up a really good point here. There's a much better chance that you're not going to see linear progression. It's just not the way that we see quarterbacks work in the NFL, really. They all have ups and downs coming into the league. They all have fits and starts with 3 exceptions. And so I think it's really important for Broncos Country to keep that in context as we're going forward through the season. I think it's going to be really important, especially not to freak out if Nix does have slumps, because I think that, you know, like Roy's saying, the chances of an up and down season from him are at least decent for any second-year quarterback. They're decent.
Right.
And in this offense, you've got new playmakers coming in, too. You've got 𝐁𝐫𝐲𝐬 coming in. You've got Pat Bryant coming in. You've got 𝐷eVonn still growing in this offense, a second-year player from last year. Everybody's going to be trying to do a little bit more, and it's going to take, I think, maybe more time than Broncos Country wants it to take to look really smooth this year, but I think we will see it.
Yeah, I don't expect you to see us go out there and look as flat as we did the first 4 games last year.
Yeah.
When Bo Nix just looked off, and you go back to that Jets game, and when it was sloppy and everything, but it was probably one of his worst games all season.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk at that point of like, see, we told you, like, look at this Bo Nix guy, like, oh, you're not doing crap out there, and you know. But I don't expect to see it that bad at the start of the season. You routinely can expect to see that any team coming out there, the defense is always going to start strong, and it's the offense that takes some time to build up, and that's okay. We don't need to rush these things. I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking at this going, oh, this is a Super Bowl year, like. Okay, maybe, but you're going to have a lot of things go your way. So yeah, let's take some time with this. Let's not overreact to anything. Let's say worst case, Bo Nix has a sophomore slump. Okay, that doesn't mean he's out. Like, how many other quarterbacks in NFL history have had sophomore slumps and gone on to have fantastic careers? You know? So I don't know the number on that, David, but it doesn't. You never associate sophomore slump with like, okay, he's done. So. Right. This is a rebuilding team. You know, I have those high expectations. Those are good to have, but if we don't meet them this year, so what?
Well, and it's still a team that's very much in search of a young core. And I think you're finding that those guys step forward in people like Marvin Mims, but there's still a lot of questions around other guys. You know, guys like Drew Sanders, guys like draft picks this year, Savion Jones, Jonah Ellis. Are those going to be guys that turn into real cornerstones of the franchise for a long time to come? Or are they guys who showed a little something in a really good situation, and when they are called upon to take that next step and show a little more, they won't be able to answer that call? So it's definitely a team that is still searching for guys to be the real hardcore of this roster at under 25. And, you know, you've got these veterans at offensive line. You've got Courtland Sutton. You've got Patrick Surtain, and that's great. But it's got to be more than just Bo Nix as the exciting young talent on the team, right? And we're still – that's what I really love having this coaching staff around for in particular. This coaching staff that's really experienced, that has shown themselves to be able to develop players – in the past, and is hopefully going to continue with that track record, because if they can just continue to do that the way they've been doing it, you've got to think really good things are in the long-term future for this team.
Oh yeah. Preston here. Maybe we'll talk about some schedule predictions or record predictions here later on, guys. But 11-6, that's feasible. You know, 1 game better than last year. I'm still on the 13 wins kind of. Well, I guess we're just going to go into it, David. I'm more on the 13 wins. I don't know. I think last time we talked about this, you were on the 12 win kind of area. Is that still where you're sitting, or have I convinced you to maybe bump up 1?
No, I think I could stay at 12. You know, even 11 I can see. I think Adam Rank picked the Broncos to win the AFC West and go 11-6 on the NFL Network today. So wow. that was really interesting to see. And I think I think division title is really in the cards. Now, a lot of things have to go right. You know, you have to have, obviously we've talked about development from Bo Nix. I think you have to see the running game take a really big leap step forward. And I know we've been talking about the running game as something that's going to evolve. Yeah, Preston, right on. But we can't just assume that. We can't just assume that 𝐁𝐫𝐲𝐬 steps in and is this lightning in a bottle player that he was in college. And we can't just assume that J.K. Dobbins, coming off another major injury, is going to just be an effective running back anymore. And we can't guarantee, like, guys, I want to get, I don't think there's anybody on this podcast right now who doesn't like 𝐁𝐫𝐸𝐻 and who doesn't want him to succeed, because I think he could be a really good player. But let's keep it in the perspective that the man was a 5th round pick last year, and you've already got it looking like J.K. Dobbins, obviously Jaleel McLaughlin, R.J. Harvey, and then are going to make the team. And then Jaleel McLaughlin, I think, is one of the players that Sean Payton really likes to have here. And so I think that's already probably 3 running back spots. And so Jaleel, Estime, guys, he was just a 5th round pick. And if you see him get cut coming out of training camp,
don't be
it
surprised.
Shouldn't be the biggest shock in the world. So, but that's, that really just is to say that it's going to be really interesting to see how this running back battle shakes out through camp, because I just don't think we have yet as good a handle on what that's actually going to look like this year as we'd like.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to see J.K. Dobbins put up 1,000 yards from scrimmage this year, though. I don't think we need to see R.J. Harvey go off for 600 plus this season. I think if they're both maybe splitting around 500 or, whatever, I don't think it's that big. I think we just need enough of a running game this year to keep the defense honest and not purely focused on Bo. I think the run game is something that is supposed to grow over time. And hopefully we'll see, R.J. Harvey ideally take over the reins of the running game, halfway through the season or later. Because then next year we can talk about, okay, now this guy has some experience. Now what can he do as the top running back for the Broncos, and having, that full, years worth of experience, everything under his belt from there. So the running game, look, we have Bo. Bo's going to be able to use his legs a whole lot more than he did at the end of last season. Not having a broken back kind of helps with that. But we just need to have something that is consistent. And like what Preston here said, we just don't need a repeat of Jamaal Charles coming in here and then being a fumble, but like, just come on. You know what I mean? So as long as that doesn't happen, as long as these guys are just consistently good, I don't need them to be amazing. I don't need 1,000-yard rusher this season, but if they can get up there above 600 both, I'd say that's pretty damn good.
For sure.
So
now, while we're on this side of the ball, I want to talk about the receivers, because I think the receiver room could be one of the highest variance position groups, maybe in the entire NFL. Like, this could be like a room that by the end of the season, we're going, wow, this is incredibly well put together. They've got a lot of cool weapons they can do different things with. Or we could be saying, man, that didn't work. Like, we still got Courtland Sutton and and Marvin Mims. That's the worst case scenario, right? That Marvin Mims doesn't really take another step forward from what we saw last year, and he's just a gadget player who's useful, but he never does really anything more than that. Sutton is still Sutton, but you don't see any extra growth from Devon Vele. You don't see Troy Franklin evolve any, and you see Pat Bryant kind of just be meh. And when he steps out onto that field, the 4.6 speed that he shows in college also shows up in the NFL, and it just doesn't work. But I lean a little bit toward the former, Kevin. I want to get your thoughts on what you think about this receiver room.
There's some question marks. One, I think we need to see is not Franklin. I keep thinking Franklin. The one that was trying to was on Bo Nix's Oregon team.
Oh, Tez Johnson? Or no, that's Troy Franklin.
Franklin. Okay. I don't know why I'm all right. For Troy Franklin, we were looking to see that connection last year, and they almost had it a couple of times, and the ball just kept falling out of the hands. Like, it looked like the ball placement was there, but they just could not get on the same page until the Bills game, right? If we see more of that happening, and you add the addition of continuing what Marvin Mims was able to do in the last 6 or so games of last season, you could have a very dynamic team. Plus, you got Vele, who was incredibly consistent last year. He was one of them. I mean, the guy like almost never dropped anything. And then if Pat Bryant works out the way that that Sean Payton thinks he will, then you could have a very diverse and talented running or wide receiver room with speed, with, you know, something like Sutton with those 50-50 balls. It could be one of those things where we all of a sudden go from Bo Nix doesn't have many weapons to he has too many weapons.
Well, yeah. I mean, that, you know, champagne problems. I'm interested to see about Bryant. I'm interested to see what that size and what that frame and, you know, we talk about the speed, but I'm excited to see what that looks like in this offense. And, you know, our friend of the show, Jeff Legwold, recently wrote on ESPN in their series of players that surprised in spring training this year. He picked Pat Bryant for the Broncos pick and talked about how much run he was getting with the first team offense, how consistent he looked out there. So I would really be interested to see what that looks like in training camp. Like that, you know, it doesn't guarantee anything. He's a 3rd round pick. It might not carry over to when the pads come on, but if it does carry over to when the pads come on, what then? What do you do? Like, how much do you see him come in right away, or how much do you see him not come in? And Franklin, the size speed combination with Troy Franklin is just what you want in the NFL. Like, if you're building a receiver out of clay, that, you know, Franklin's got it. Maybe a little slight in the frame, but the height and the speed for sure. If he just caught the ball last year reliably, you know,
it's all he had to do.
He was so
the ball got there.
Yeah,
the ball got there basically every time.
And he separated too. He separated really well against NFL corners. And if he can just get that part of the game down, that, you know, that could do a lot for this offense. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I think it's going to be another one of those areas where the growth isn't as linear as we want it to be. But I think by the end of the season, it could look really cool.
Yeah. Gary has a comment here, a question I'm going to bring up. Guys, really quickly, remember, we got a pretty big announcement coming your way at the end of the show today, so you are not going to want to leave early tonight. Pretty big project I've been working on, and it's going to be something that will really just be awesome once it's all said and done. So make sure you guys are sticking around. I cannot wait to share it with you guys. Let's bring this up here from Gary. First off, Gary, our marketing guy. So tip of the hat and a big thank you to Gary for everything he does for us behind the scenes. But looking at Marvin Mims, maybe being the Joker. Now, this is interesting, and I've kind of thought this a couple times. You have Evan Ingram come in, and after he signed with the Broncos, he posts a picture of the Joker from Batman, you know, kind of hinting at, this is what I'm here to be. But we've also seen some of that capability from Marvin Mims last year. So do you think, you know, Marvin is going to kind of have that Joker role, or is it going to be split between Ingram and him, or how is that going to look, do you think?
I think that this has been Sean Payton talking point for this offseason, specifically because he doesn't want people thinking about what else he's going to be doing with the offense this year. Because I think there's just no one person on this team who's the Joker in the way that Sean Payton has traditionally used the player. There is no one person who can line up in the backfield or at slot receiver or at tight end the way that he has had his Jokers do in the past. It is, if anything, a Joker in aggregate that we have this year, and I want Broncos fans to start thinking of it more like that. Because Evan Ingram is basically a big slot receiver. Like, as far as inline tight end, it's not exactly what he does. And it's not also what Broncos country, like, I don't think we should expect him to be lining up in the backfield a lot. I don't expect him to be asked to block in line a lot. And, you know, I think so sometimes Marvin Mims will take on some of the plays that Sean Payton would assign to a Joker in other scenarios. And in some scenarios, I think those snaps will go to Jaleel McLaughlin or RJ Harvey. I think it's going to be spread around. I don't think we have any one particular Joker player on the roster the way that Sean Payton has traditionally used one.
I like that. And I'm really glad I heard you say that, because that's what I was hoping. It wasn't just me thinking that. It's
Well, and
all about it's all about keeping the defense honest.
it is, but and here's why that's good, because like you said, it makes the defense guess. It makes the defense not really sure what you're doing with your personnel at different times, but it also adds another layer of complexity to your offense. And if you have one player that can do all of those things, that really simplifies things for you. So in that sense, it can be an advantage to have just one singular joker. So, but as long as this is why you have good offensive coaches, but you've got to make sure that they do their work, and you've got to make sure that everybody knows where they're supposed to be and what their role is in a given play with these wrinkles, if you want to make that consistently something that can confuse defenses.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It involves a lot of communication, really strong, consistent communication. Now, thankfully on the defense, or on the offense, we have some players, with experience, such as Sutton. You got Garrett Bowles out there, so that's really good for the offensive line, especially with his amount of years he's been with the Broncos, and a lot of people coming back for their second, third years. So we're starting to get there, right, where this is just going to become smoother every year. Like, the last 5 years of Tom Brady's time with the Patriots, how smooth was? I mean, week one, it was almost like maybe there's a couple bumps here or there, but you knew what you were getting week one.
Yeah.
And that here we're like, okay, it takes time for these guys to get on the same page and flow right on into a season. You also got to remember, for all of these rookies last year, I mean, the NFL season is way longer than the college season. So these guys are just burnt out, and their bodies are just physically worn down by the end of the NFL season. So now they've had time to recuperate and get their bodies ready for the full NFL season push. So there's a lot of things that are going to be in play here, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, really quickly before we move over to, I want to talk about the defense a little bit, because we spent a lot of time on the offense, which is great, but I want to get your thoughts there. First off, Clayton, good to see you here. Yes, guys, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, happy belated birthday to America. So hopefully you guys all celebrated the 4th safe, and everybody came home with all their fingers and appendages attached. I'd imagine it'd be typing, it'd make typing a comment on the show a little more tough if you couldn't. Yeah, but
quite.
We do have some traditions here, Bourbon Broncos No B.S, David. One of which is, Team Puffball. We're not mathematically eliminated yet. Those kinds of things. We also have Brad. Brad is a tradition here at Bourbon Broncos No B.S. Our friend from across the big pond, I guess you could say, over in Australia. How you doing, good sir? But man, I don't miss that one wide receiver. What was his name? Judy, I don't miss him. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. Always good to see you bring up your Jerry Judy jokes to us, bud. Okay, David, let's see. We're going to be wrapping up the show before too long, guys. So remember, we got a big announcement coming your way. Make sure you're sticking around. But let's look at the defense a little bit, David. We talked about a lot of the position battles and things that we're looking for on the offense, but defense, you're talking about any aspect of the team that has the highest standards and expectations this year, it's the defense. I mean, anywhere you look, any video you see, everyone's talking about the Broncos being, either the best defense or like a top 3, at worst a top 5. So what are you seeing on the defensive side of the ball? Do you have any concerns, or just, what are your expectations for these guys?
I mean, it's just whether or not, as far as concerns, whether you can get healthy seasons out of Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. And if you can, you're going to have a great opportunity to be the best defense in the NFL. And if you can't, you're going to have days where they look like the best defense in the NFL and days where they get caught. And it, kind of just like last year. And that's the way it's really going to be, I think. I think you've got, everything we heard out of rookie minicamp and the mandatory minicamps was how interesting and compelling Q Robinson looked. Now, obviously a pass rusher, You don't really know until the pads go on, but there was a lot of intrigue about him coming straight out of the draft. So if you've got another young edge rusher in that room that looks like he's going to be something, that gives you all the more flexibility with Nick Benito. If Riley Moss can continue to be the player that he was before he got rushed back from injury last year, or if you see more out of guys like Chris Abrams-Draine, that's going to be a really important factor to this defense's growth too. So I'm really excited. And I hope that they see a reason to put Savion Jones on the field this year, because having another kind of interior defensive lineman is also going to be really, really important if you want to keep this defense strong for years to come. I'm trying to be cautious about it. Because defensive variance in the NFL is so high. It's so high, and it's so hard just because of lots of reasons, but it's so hard to maintain a really good defense year after year. And so I think the Broncos have the players to do it and the coaching to do it. But, I don't want to be like, oh man, definitely the best defense in the NFL for sure, just because I have it, there's been too much history behind not going that way.
Yeah. I think to say that, we expect them to be the best in the NFL. Yeah, that's a stretch even for me. Yeah, I think the expectation is they should be the top 5, if not top 3, because they do have the talent. They have the experience, especially continuity on the coaching staff side of things. And so it's a lot, how much grit do they have? How they go out there and play their A game every week. And we saw that more or less last year. And yeah, they got beat sometimes, but the thing was they picked themselves up and they learned from it and they rebounded, right? It's not like years before, where as soon as things started going bad, it was like the whole team was like, "Yep, here we go again. We're just going to call it now." So this team's on the right track, and they're going to continue to grow. Now, the one interesting thing to keep in mind is if the Broncos do have just another fantastic year defensively, Vance Joseph may not be here next year. He may be getting a head coaching job somewhere else, and then we're just kind of going to be sitting here going, "Well, who's the new coach going to be?" It'd be nice to keep somebody there because I'm so desperate for continuity that I don't want to lose anyone in the first several years of this rebuild. But it might be a reality, and we're going to have to sit back and watch it happen. Now, Can you just imagine the impact that, these players of Hufanga and Greenlaw alone could have if they do have a full healthy year? Then you got Alex Singleton coming back, and he's on a contract year. So it's not that he's just coming back from a big injury, but he has a lot on the line to play for. His job, not just a higher salary, but if he's not doing well, there's people behind him that are waiting to take his spot that I think we've even drafted for some of these linebackers, to kind of turn over the reins if we need to go that route. So there's pressure on these players to do well other than to just do well, but to have Singleton back and have Greenlaw and Hufanga and PS2, and if Jahdae Barron can pick things up quickly, like this defense could be incredibly scary to face. Yeah. And the number of pick sixes we see could be just, liking it back to the 2015 Broncos, man. It's just, we're going to have to start thinking up of a nickname for him, because also we can't use no fly zone. So what are we going to do, man? What are we going to do?
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see. Preston says, Vance Joseph, not a very good head coach, but some other teams going to want to try it, right? Look, what teams keep going back to McDaniels. If they keep going back to McDaniels, they're going to give somebody like Vance Joseph another try.
You'd think.
Just going to throw that out there. Let's see really quickly. Last question here. Wrap this up. Gary says, how are we feeling about Jarrett Stidham and Sam Ehlinger? For me, pretty simple. Jarrett Stidham's a good backup. He's been with Sean Payton for a couple of years now. He has a continuity. He's shown that he can step in and at least play consistently. Not amazing, but play like we expect a backup to play. Sam Ehlinger, just practice squad. Hopefully we never have to see him dressed up on the field, other than just being the emergency standby quarterback. So, David, any input there?
I mean, that's fine for a backup quarterback room. I'm good with that.
I like it. Okay. Well, guys, couple things here. We're going to get to our closing thoughts. And then instead of ending the show like we normally do, because I always say I have nothing else to say, this time I will have more to say as I give you guys this big announcement and show you what we have coming down the pike here for you here in just a couple of weeks. But first off, make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that across all the different platforms. There will be a prize giveaway later this season. Or I ask you, or say, in order to get entered for this prize giveaway, you have to prove to me that you're following us on each of these social media platforms. So you might as well just go ahead and follow us now so that when I ask for that, you can just send me that picture and get entered for a major prize at the end of the season. And why are we giving away prizes? Not just because we like you guys, but also it's our 10th anniversary. So tons of stuff like what I'm about to show you here soon coming down the way, tons of giveaways. We're building up a merch shop. We're going to be designing some things that you guys can buy, help support us that way, and just look good and everything on game days and whatnot to wear some Broncos pride around. So, Sean, good to see you, man. Spill the beans. Okay, we're good. Hold on, we got to get to some closing thoughts first. So, like I said, guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a couple more things to say here, but make sure you join us every Tuesday night for Bourbon Broncos No B.S. at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. With the first preseason game less than a month away, or right about a month away from now. We're going to be ramping up into our full swing of content, live shows, podcasts, all that stuff in about 5 to 6 weeks, guys. So, man, it's going to be here before you know it, and you're going to want to be ready for it. So I am excited. There's going to be a lot of fun times up ahead, I do believe. So just get your best Broncos jersey on and get ready for it. But David, let's do some closing thoughts, man, and get over to the big news soon. But Broncos training camp starting next week, dude. It is here. This offseason is wrapping up. What do you got?
It somehow felt short this year, but let's get through the next 2 weeks and we'll talk about that. I don't know. Seriously, just really excited to get into this preseason and see how our first look at these young new players. It's a really cool, optimistic time to be a fan of this franchise in a way that it hasn't been for so many years. And I'm just over the moon about that.
Yeah. No, I think it well said, short and sweet to the point, man. Look, we're all excited. I think I haven't felt this excited for a season to start in a long time. You know, you could say maybe before Russell Wilson's first season, but that dissipated very quickly.
Yeah.
And the second year, there was no excitement going into that season. You know, but if you're a fan of doing high knees on an airplane, then you must have been happy. I don't know. It was such a weird 8 years, dude, of Broncos history. Like, yeah. I cannot wait to just look, say, let's put that behind us. That's in the past. And don't have to experience that for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, just get ready for it. There's gonna be a lot of things happening really quickly. So, all right, David, with that being said, man, I got nothing left to say. So no, I think I do.
I think guys, too.
You know that here at Bourbon Broncos and No BS, big announcement time, guys. One of our foundation principles is wanting to interact with you guys. Tons of Broncos shows out there, and I'm not trying to dig on any of them, but a lot of the bigger ones, there's so many people in the comment section and doing all these things. It's tough, almost impossible for the host to interact with their viewers. And that's what we want to try to do as much as possible. So as part of our 10th year, I wanted to go big, and I found a way to do this. We are bringing you guys a Bourbon Broncos and No BS website. So here is a preview. We still got a lot of work to do on it. It's probably going to look different by the time it launches once we get, the design and layout kind of configured. But this is going to be your one-stop shop for all of the Bourbon Broncos and No BS content. We got Broncos information. We got information on our shows, the latest lives, all of the short videos we do. You can find our podcast, our most recently posted podcast episode here. Play it through the website. We got articles, man, and not just articles, but we got work for me, baby. Here we go. We got comment sections in the articles, so you guys can interact and discuss these things amongst yourselves, and we'll pop in there from time to time and answer questions that way as well. And speaking of questions, guys, if you want to find another way to ask stuff of us, like I said, we're still building, so stand by. You can submit your questions here as well. And you're going to want to tune into the live shows. You're going to want to watch our shorts, because I'll be using some of your suggestions and your comments and your questions that you post here to create videos off of. If you have a joke, something you want to just read on air because you think it's funny, send it our way as well. This is going to be a fantastic way for you to interact with us and stay up to date with all the latest content we have for you guys. So stand by. We got way more information on this coming up. I am gearing to have this released and public for you guys by the start of full training camp on July 22nd. That's my goal. I'm going to try and see if I can make it. This is only a website right now, but once I have the website up and running, I'm going to immediately transition and try to build an app for you all that you can have on your phone based off the website. So that's maybe more of a mid-season goal, mid-season release. We'll see how long that process takes, guys. But man, this is going to be something for us to be able to interact with you guys more. You guys can interact with us more. You can interact with each other more outside of the shows. And so that's really what I want to do here, is make it easy for you guys to find our content and interact, because Broncos Country, we are spread out across the world, and it is so good when you have no other Broncos fans around you to be able to log in and talk with Broncos Country immediately. So stand by, guys. Yes, Roy, you are completely right. We are growing. We're trying to do it right by you all more than anything else. So get ready, guys. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. I'm excited, man. Oh, here's another good idea. So from Preston, hey, he says Axe and the Oak is a good bourbon. If you have bourbon suggestions for us, you could submit it to there, through the website as well. We may try it on air. I don't know. We'll see if they can, make those kinds of things happen. So get ready for it, guys. Let's see. The burning puffball with David. Great ideas. I like it. Anyway, guys, football season's here. David, I'm just super excited, man.
The Chargers play the Lions on the Hall of Fame game on NBC on July 31st. Friends.
Go Lions.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah. All of that is to say, right,
Hall of Fame game.
I can't possibly find enough interest to root for a team in the Hall of Fame game unless it's the Broncos, and even then. But
like the only reason I watched the last Broncos Hall of Fame game was because they were inducting *𝐁𝐫𝐸. They were, interviewing him and showing him all but even then it was like, just don't get hurt.
Yeah. Great. Like, come on. All of that is to say that football is back. We have 2 more weeks to go for this training camp to really get started, and I cannot wait. It's going to be an amazing season, and we are so excited to share it with everybody here in Broncos Country.
Love it, man. Well, with that being said, I think I have officially run out of things to say, so we'll end it, man, as we always do, on a very strong Go
Broncos!
See you guys later. Take care.
Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. 'Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go.